so I figured I would record my voiceover now when I have time. Welcome back to another episode of Project Life. I am doing something different and I'm using two of my kits at the same time, which is my Take 10 kit and my Creative Retreat kit. Those are the pictures you saw at the start of this video, and I will have links for them in the description box below, so if you guys want to check them out, their kits are awesome, so I feel very blessed to be able to use them in this video. As per usual, I'm putting my cards and my photos on the layout and trying to decide where I actually want them, but as we all know, that can change gradually because I don't normally have a plan when I do this. I kind of just go with what feels right to me. So, and you know, it's Project Life, so I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I was kind of like, at first, when I started this layout, I was like, my mojo felt like meh. And then I was just like, you know what? Stop putting so much pressure on yourself and just do what looks right to you. Because sometimes, even because I post these layouts too, it's like, you know, I don't want people to think like, oh, that layout is just not as nice as the last one or whatever. But it's like, it is honestly what looks nice to you as a person. So, no, you're never going to win everyone over because everyone has a different design aesthetic and beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So, yeah. Those Robons are from the Creative Retreat kit, just so you guys know, and they're awesome. I love Robons. I forgot how much I loved them till I got my kit and I started using them again. And a Robon is basically like a sticker, but a lot better because you rub it with your little stick that comes in with your Robons, and then it stays on there without leaving any sort of glossy residue, so it looks like you actually printed it on there. And I just think that's awesome because even though I love the Mambi stickers, you know, those clear Mambi stickers to put on photos, it would be awesome if they were like a rub-on that didn't leave any glossy residue, because I personally don't like that glossiness left behind, even though I'll still use them, because I'm too lazy to use Photoshop basically, and kind of learn it and do everything like that. That little 2015 is a cut apart from my Take 10 kit, which I knew I wanted to use, and just so you guys know, I did use my spellbinders to die cut those circle photos. I just thought it would look cool, and I was kind of inspired by the card itself that has kind of like rings of color on it, so I figured I would do circle photos, and that's kind of been my thing as of recently. I've kind of been like, let me change up the shape of my photos. Why do we have to do square photos all the time? Why not do different shapes and things? So I think it's fun to kind of change it up, and I just added a little bit of watercolor to that to just kind of make it go with the overall layout. And I also popped that up on some foam tape to give it dimension, which they have that at your local craft store. And then the sequins that come in the Take 10 kit, I knew I wanted to use it kind of like the way I use enamel dots, you know, just to add a little something to this photo. So I kind of played with the placement of these, trying to decide where I wanted them. And I really love these sequins because they're the translucent kind, and those are my favorite. There's just something I love about the translucent kind. They're almost like, I don't know, they're just so pretty. And these sequins, you get different sizes, not just one size, which is like what I love because I like to alternate between the smaller, the medium, and the large size, which just has all of those sizes. And that's what I did. And then I decided to use another rub-on, which, like I said before, is from my Creative Retreat kit. And I just wanted to create another circle to go with this card because I felt like it was missing something after adding the sequins. So I pulled out my watercolors again and just added some pink and yellow to this. And I am working on top of a paper towel because I find that that's a little easier for me to kind of just dab off with, because you don't want to oversaturate your cardstock. So that's something that I try not to do, and then I just dab off. That way I don't even have to worry about heat embossing it, just dab it off on the cardstock. And I don't use watercolor paper, for the record, since I know someone asked me on my Facebook community page, and there is a link to that in the description box if you want to follow me there as well, where you can ask me questions and we can kind of like talk there and all of that. I just literally just use 80-pound cardstock, so to me that's kind of like the easiest thing to use, and as long as you don't oversaturate it, you don't have to even worry about it. It'll be fine. So that's my recommendation. If you have heavyweight cardstock, you can use it, just don't oversaturate the cardstock, because then any cardstock will start feathering unless it's like heavy duty watercolor paper. So now I'm deciding which card I want to work on next, and I just decided to work on the card that I have an idea for. Because since I'm kind of like just creating as I go, as I say, like I'm just like, okay, I'm drawing a blank for the rest of this, so let me just work on the one card I do know what I'm doing. The one idea that I had for this card was that I wanted to write around the ring of the cup with my precision pen. I just wanted to kind of like write what my favorite coffee of the month is right now, and that card is from the Take 10 kits, and I really love that it's a picture of a coffee cup because it's kind of just fun, and it like almost looks like you took the picture. So I figured I would use that as kind of like a filler card to talk about what my new favorite obsession is of the month, which is definitely the white chocolate mocha at Starbucks, iced with no whip, and if you haven't had it, you're missing out. I'm using my Creative Retreat stamp set, and I'm using the scripty love word. I love that element from that stamp set. I would have gotten the Creative Retreat just for the stamp set, just so I could use this one word. It's just so pretty. And I knew I wanted to add it on the coffee cup picture because I figured like the foam looked like it was making a heart shape, and I literally am like in love with the new white chocolate mocha drink that I recently kind of discovered at Starbucks. So I know it's not new to Starbucks, but I kind of recently discovered how much I like it, and then I'm just dabbing off that edge just so it doesn't come off the cup too much where I'm stamping it. And I just stamped that with some VersaFine ink, and I used my acrylic block, and I was really liking how that was coming out. I just wanted to add a tag that I had in my stash, a gold tag, because I just wanted to add something to that little area. I felt like the card was a little bit too plain for me, even though it would have been fine without that, like, let's be real. But you know me, I literally can't leave well enough alone. So I just decided I'd add that and just reiterate what I wrote around the cup in case someone doesn't feel like reading all around the cup ring. Um, but I really like the way the card was looking, and I just added, like I said, a few more notes. And the precision pen I'm using is from American Crafts. It's just one of those slick writers, so I can write on slick surfaces. I'm not necessarily writing on any slick surface right now at the moment, but if you wanted to write, let's say, on a photo, you could use that pen. I know I have a lot of newbies watching my videos, so I'm trying to be as descriptive as possible, because I would appreciate that if it was me. And that puffy sticker, which I'm obsessed with the puffy stickers in this month's kit, is from Take 10. It's a really good value, honestly. You get a whole pack of puffies, and you get a stamp set in this month's kit, and that's $10, people. Come on now. For this card, I decided to add, I cut right across a 3x4 that comes in the Take 10 kit this month because I knew I wanted to add it to this card, and just do something different. I had seen that somewhere, I don't remember where though, or else I would link to them, but I saw a photo and a layout that had kind of like that type of pattern where they did like 3x4s cut in half. So I decided I would do something similar to that, but of course my own twist on it and do it in my own way. I used a stamp set from Creative Retreat, and I really love that stamp set because it just says "You Are My Sunshine," and it fits perfectly within a 1-inch punch, so I don't have to fussy cut it. So yay! And then this label is from the Creative Retreat kit as well, and I love the funky shapes of the labels because it's just fun to like work with a label that you've never seen that shape before. So I really enjoyed working with those, and I knew I wanted to add that as well as that little element with some foam tape just to give it like a different element to it. And like I said, I wanted to keep this pretty simple because I felt like, you know, I didn't want to go overboard with this, trying out this like different type of layout that I'm doing, because I've also never worked with the design, I believe F layout page protector. And also these enamel dots come in the Creative Retreat kit, and they're really pretty. They're from Sweet V's, and they're just a really pretty color. I just really like them, so I figured it would look really cute in the middle of the sun, and it does. And then for my next card, which I love this card and I didn't want to do too much to it because I felt like it was so nice on its own. And if you're like more of a simple project lifer, you could have totally left this card alone. But I'm not that way. Like, I'm trying to be more simple, but I'll never be like a simple project lifer. So I decided I wanted to add some color to some of the individual letters just to kind of transform the card and make it original and make it my own, you know. I love doing this to cards. That way, you know, when you see a card, someone might have the same kit as you, but their card's not gonna look exactly the same as mine. And I hope that when you guys do see these videos, you take it as inspiration to kind of do your own thing, which I know a lot of people have told me that, and I've seen them do kind of like their own versions, which I think that's really great because that's part of the reason I do these videos, is just to inspire you guys to kind of just do your own thing and not be scared to do that. You know, like for me personally, I don't, like, even if I see something that someone does and I think it's a cool idea, like, not only will I give them credit, but I'll also do my own version of it. I don't want to like do exactly what they're doing because that's no fun. I decided to add some lines to give that card definition, and I did 2 lines, and I love the way that that looked, and I felt like it just made it like pop just a little bit more. And make sure that you let your letters dry when you're doing this so that they don't like smear or anything like that. Just a tip, because sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. For this next card, I knew I just wanted to add like an overlay and keep going with that theme of like having like a cross color going across my photo, if that makes any sense. I don't know what the technical term for that is, but I'm just sticking down my overlay with my tiny attacher. I love the look of staples, and like I don't like adding a million of them, but just a few of them here and there throughout my spread I think look awesome, and those are the gold staples. And that puffy sticker is from the Take 10 kit, and I knew I wanted to use it no matter what because I loved that sticker. It was my favorite sticker of the whole pack. So I was like, I'm using this, I don't care. And I thought it looked awesome there without like overdoing that photo because I didn't want to add too much to it. And then for this card, which is also from the Take 10 kit, I didn't want to overdo that as well. I loved the card on its own, and I had a few different ideas, but I ended up going with this one. I had this die cut that says Life, and it is from my Cameo, basically. It's one of the designs from there, and I just cut it out. And I was just adding some watercolor to it, and then a gold, well, not a gold, a pink vellum that I cut out with a 1-inch circle that I wanted to add kind of behind that to give it a more like cute design element because that card is really busy. So like, I don't know, it looks really busy, so I didn't want to add too much. And then I just put 2 staples on that just to give it another design element and interest to that. And then I added some sequins and a little gold vellum dot that I also punched out. And I figured, yeah, I would just keep that one simple, and I use the sequins kind of like enamel dots throughout this page, so I kind of like doing something a little different. For this card, I loved this pink and stripe one, so I knew I wanted to do like a black and white card because since I have black and white going throughout this layout, I thought it would be cool to tie in this card by having the photo be black and white. That's something I've been playing with recently, is adding colored photos and black and white photos in the same layout, and I really am enjoying doing that. I added another gold label from my stash, and then I pulled out my Creative Retreat stamp set, and I knew I wanted to use it again to kind of create this little like header on the top of the photo. And I didn't want to overdo this card because I felt like it had a lot going on with the stripes in the background, but I will end up adding something else to it later on in the video because I leave it kind of plain to begin with. I'm just going to add some script to this card. And then basically I'm going to just kind of leave it alone because sometimes when I'm not sure about whether I want to add something to a card, I kind of just leave it alone and work with my next card. And then sometimes in the middle of working with my next card, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to add this to it. And I kind of just have like an aha moment. So it's kind of one of those things where if you're not sure about what you want to do to a card, maybe just leave it alone and think about it. Sometimes what I'll do is even just take a picture of the card with my phone so that if I'm really, really stuck on what I want to do, I can look back at it through a photo and see if I feel like it's missing anything. If I don't have time to finish the layout in that exact moment. From the Hello Kitty card, I also wanted to add something to it, but I hadn't decided yet at that point what I wanted to do with it. Because since this is like a different page protector that I've ever used, I feel like that's part of the reason I had a harder time kind of like finding my groove at first when I started this layout and kind of deciding. I knew I wanted to add the other half of that 3x4 card, and I did. And then I pulled out this label from the cut parts from the Take 10 kit, and as well as the Take 10 kit's stamp set for this month that says My Life in Pictures, and I really thought that that saying was perfect for the layout that I was doing and for that picture in general. So I decided to add that onto there and then just cut off the access of the tab, obviously. And I knew I wanted to add one more element, but I was playing with what I wanted to add there. Like, I was like, meh. I was like, it needs something, and at first I was thinking enamel dots, but I was like, no, and then I was looking at the cork pieces that I had made from that sneak peek I did, and I was like, no, and then that but the and didn't make sense even though it looked really pretty there, because it says My Life in Pictures and, And I'm like, and what? So I pulled out my wood veneer box, my handy dandy wood veneer box, and I pulled out a geotag, and I thought, you know what, I'll add a geotag because it kind of signifies, me living in another state, and I just thought that that would look really good there. And then I had like this aha moment where I was like, I'm gonna add an enamel dot on top of that, just to like bring in another enamel dot on this spread, and I just thought it looked pretty, so I did it, and I thought it looked really cute. And I love challenging myself to do different things. That's why I decided to use this specific page protector. It might not have been the smartest thing to do as far as like working on a deadline for a layout, but I just thought it would look really awesome. So I really wanted to kind of do something different and play with a different type of layout. And then I had this card that I knew I wanted to add script to, and I thought I would just film myself adding the script versus just showing it afterwards because I love watching people do script and personally, so I just used my watercolors for this and the little paint pencil that I have in my stash. I was kind of doing more of I guess a calligraphy type look to it, yet not because I guess um, I don't really know how to do per se calligraphy. I kind of just play with things and see if I like the way they look. And for my script generally, I try to make it kind of like, try to make it a little bit more wonky or whatever, like not so like rigid. So I knew I wanted to do a special card though for this layout because I feel like I can't believe we're in 2015, so it's crazy. And also, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, I would love it if you guys do because it's an easy place for you guys to communicate with me. As far as my Facebook page, it's easy for you to ask me questions there, see exclusive content like pictures and things that I don't necessarily post on my Instagram all the time. And just for us to be able to communicate, because you can definitely send me a message on there, and I always leave the links below. And also, if you follow me on Instagram, I still have a giveaway going on that will end at the start of February. So if you haven't entered that, and also if you'd like to see more photos in between me posting videos, I would love it if you guys followed there as well. So yeah, I didn't want to do too much to it, so I just added the 2015, and then I decided I wanted to add some color going around it. And my new thing is just mixing the colors around till I get a color I liked. I wanted to do like pink, orange, and yellow kind of. So I just went around the card and around the edge and just kind of played with it till I liked the way that looked. And I knew I wanted to add some splatter, but I didn't want to add too much because if you ever try writing over watercolor with a pen, for some reason it because watercolors are water reactant, it reacts to the ink, so it kind of makes it like more smudgy. So I didn't want to add too many of the splatters, but I knew I wanted to add some because I mean, I love the way splatters look. I just have to say that. But I don't like to add like too much, so yeah, I just kind of played with splattering that a bit. And I really like the way this looked and the way the script came out, so this ends up being one of my favorite cards from the layout. I feel like it really brings the layout together for me. And then I decided to add some of the things that I'm wanting to do for this coming year. I just thought it would be fun to add that so that if I can look back at this page and see what I was able to kind of like accomplish. Yeah, and I'm using my precision pen again because that way I can do little tiny words. And I would definitely recommend you guys maybe trying to do the same thing. So if it's in your project life, you can look back at it and see if you actually were able to accomplish those things. I really love the kits from this month, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me use them. Be sure to check them out. They're such awesome companies, and the owners are amazing. And you get such a good value of the amount that you get for the stuff. They're all kits that are basically, under $20, and they're just fabulous. So I wish I could have used everything that came in this month's kit from both kits, but hopefully I'll get to use some of the leftovers in my next layout that I finish. So anyway, you guys, I really appreciate you watching. To all my new subscribers, I will have some videos explaining certain things more in depth for people who are just getting into all this, because I remember how clueless I was when I first started, and I really had to take classes to learn a lot of things. Not super in-depth classes, but how to emboss, how to stamp, like, just like basics, because I had really no idea what to buy when I walked into a craft store. So basically, that card is done. I hope you guys will give this video a big thumbs up if you're liking these videos. It lets me know that you like them, and leave me any feedback below, anything you want to say or tell me. I love to hear from you guys. And thank you so much for watching.